Yeah, so my name is Lindbergh Matillano. I'm the Director of Cost Optimization at Avalara. Um, let me, I had a little intro here anyway, so this will be a good time. So I was born on Guam. I lost a bet to friends a long time ago, so every time I'm in a conference, I have to mention I'm from Guam. I've been living in Seattle for 20 plus years. I had 10 years plus in IT and finance, and previously worked at Deloitte, Microsoft, and Tableau um, throughout the years, and achieved several certifications related around FinOps. All right, so a little bit about Avalara. For those that are not familiar with Avalara, there's two things in life you can be certain of is, I guess, death, and the other thing is taxes. Avalara is a global leader in tax automation and compliance. If you haven't heard of us, you've probably interacted with our service, either shopping online, buying a cup of coffee, or placing a telephone call. In 2021, we filed about 4.1 million tax returns, business tax returns. We have 100,000 end customers, many partners, and pretty much in 190 plus 100 countries, over 100 countries. We also have we're also on multiple public clouds and have physical data centers. So a bit about Avalara's FinOps program. We call our FinOps program cost optimization. We're optimizing both on the cloud and our engineering software. I report into the CTO organization, and we drive a very drive a culture of cost awareness. The FinOps program itself follows a hub and spoke model where the FinOps program is centralized within one organization and then works with several engineers across engineering, IT, to ensure that we're optimized on our infrastructure and our costs. All right. So it was nice that Ashley was before me. So you're probably familiar with some of these stats. Avalara isn't immune to the challenges that the FinOps Foundation has found. This is a different view of what Ashley presented earlier, in the conference. These are many of the challenges that they've highlighted. There are many of the challenges that we face. The top three challenges Avalara faces, and I imagine a lot of you do as well, is number one is getting engineers to take action on cost optimization. We're competing with their time with other features and break fixes. We are facing a growing need to enable automation, particularly as our number of accounts grows. We're over 100 accounts, which makes it difficult to manage manually. And we are focused on reducing waste and unused resources. So trying to reduce that at scale has been very difficult. So, what compounds these problems, and I've talked about this, is we have multiple clouds and accounts. We have many stakeholders because we're a hub and spoke. So we have stakeholders in our engineering groups, our IT, our security groups. There's varying degrees of experience, within the FinOps organization. We're not as technical as our engineers, and our engineers may not necessarily have the business policies in mind when they're developing policies. And then we also have a multitude of tools. Groups in our organization use a variety of tools, Botto 3, also smaller groups used Cloud Custodian at some point. So there's just a lot of tools out there. So we turn to Cloud Custodian for several reasons. One is It supports multiple clouds. It leverages existing skill sets. And as I mentioned, we had engineers already using Cloud Custodian, developing their own tool sets and working successfully in their groups. We just didn't have something at scale. Cloud Custodian also was relatively easy to code and understand, at least from my perspective, from the business perspective. You could follow a pattern, read it, and understand what that policy does, and then propose how other policies would take effect, or propose new policies that would help drive the business. And then most importantly, it has a very large community, and it was industry supported. So there's a lot of contributions to it. So we didn't necessarily have to build everything from scratch. So how did we implement Cloud Custodian at scale at Avalara? So, in the theme of Halloween, we went zombie hunting essentially. And for those that are familiar with zombie assets, they're essentially underutilized and unused infrastructure that just continually incurs cost. In this example, and I'll talk about, is really hunting zombie assets around unattached EBS volumes and snapshots or age snapshots. Previously, when we were able to manage that, oops, excuse me, the boss is knocking at the door. All right, apologize for that. One of the challenges working from home. So previously, when we were hunting down zombie assets, we would have to log into each account, and we have over 100 accounts now. Go into the specific assets or areas in the console, download it, sift through it. I try to identify who the users are, and then send emails. And you can imagine just doing that on a few accounts takes a lot of time. Doing it on 100 accounts is near impossible, at least manually. And then sending it off to various engineers. And then you have this chaotic mess of cross emails of people saying that, nope, these aren't their assets anymore. It belongs to this other team, or I have no idea what this is. So there was just a lot of chaos trying to hunt down these zombie assets. So when we implemented Cloud Custodian, it changed how we were able to scale out. Rather than download individual accounts and email individual engineers, we simply pushed Cloud Custodian policies out. There are some policies that needed to be altered just to fit our certain needs. But that change was relatively easy. We just make a code change and then submit it into Git, and then the policy would run. From there, we integrated Cloud Custodian with Jira, and we use Jira, and I think many companies do, some sort of workflow management tool. We use Jira for our engineers to both to plan and to do their work. And so having these policy violations go directly into Jira helped a lot in terms of managing their workflow. It eliminated the need to get an email, perhaps take that email's information, transfer it to a Jira request. So it allowed us to simply use the tools that our engineers were using. So it reduced the level of friction. And for when we assigned it to Jira, we assigned all of our policy violations from Cloud Custodian into one single FinOps project, and then leverage Jira's workflow automation to distribute out the work to different projects and tasks and teams to ensure that it was getting to them, and there's still a central place for us to manage it. So some lessons learned from this: start small and focus on a particular area. We initially focused on the low-hanging fruits, unattached EBS volumes, things that we know that may be easier for teams to delete, and immediately got returns off of that. Also, selecting the appropriate policy frequency and is important. When we first deployed out Cloud Custodian, we thought it would be a great idea to let people or engineers know that maybe the assets they've released weren't properly tagged, and send them that information as soon as the resource was created. Unfortunately, when we turned that on, that resulted in hundreds of new violations per hour, which inundated our teams. So that showed us that one is, we need to focus on a different pathway to improve tagging compliance, and two, that at least doing the alerts for this tagging policy wasn't effective right now in Cloud Custodian. So we turned that off and then focused on another policy so that teams would get used to it. And then the other lesson learned is regularly iterate and tweak these policies. And as we were getting feedbacks from our teams, we would update the policy to either it was too much, too many notifications, too little. We have engineers actually interested in creating different policies for their different groups, and we're working through kind of the way we can do that at scale without necessarily creating multiple Cloud Custodian instances. And then the last thing is really try to integrate your Cloud Custodian tools with Cloud Custodian with the tools that your engineers are using, and leverage that existing process. So as I mentioned, we send policies out or policy violations to Jira, and our teams pull that information from Jira to do their work. And we have a process where we dedicate a percentage of our time to fixing bugs or backlog items, and cost optimization is in that bucket. So we at least know that teams can have some time to dedicate to cost optimization. All right, I will, and that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions?